So I've given this advice to my three boys over the years, and tell me if it's good or bad advice.
Okay.
So I said, when you go out, you meet, someone, say, potential, someone you might want to date.
Hmm.
I say for them, right? The family, occupation, recreation, just ask them questions about them. But and I say, but after 20, 30 minutes,
Hmm.
if someone came up to them and said, tell me what you know about my son, and they couldn't say anything, then that might be a red flag that they love talking about themselves, but they never turned it back on my son to learn about him. So I don't know, was that good advice to say that,
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty good. I think yeah, I just think, I think that's actually quite sound. Um I think it's just like my only like just because I've talked to people, it's just like sometimes, on a date, like nerves get in the way and people are in a restaurant
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
so just if you can give a little bit of grace around that.
Yeah. And this wasn't
Um
even like a date. I meant like if you just meet someone at, a bar, let's say,
yeah.
focus on them. But if they never ask you anything about you, they might, might not be, Mrs. Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. And just like with anything else, I think people are looking for just like someone who's genuine and being authentic. And sometimes, some people can ask you questions, but it feels like a little robotic, like they've
Yeah.
technically checked the box.
Right. Right. Right.
But it's like, did you really want to know about me, or did you just feel like you have to check, your sales sheet,
Right.
to make
Right.
sure that
Right.
you
Right.
asked me about? So I think sometimes that's really important too. Like I know a lot of people who can check the box in a conversation, but actually haven't built any rapport.
Or remember it. They weren't
Yeah, I'm so
listening.
I'm sure you know that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. How can a lot of connection employee programming fail to not only help people connect, but even create the seeds of disconnection?
Did I write that somewhere? That seems it's like something I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard you say it
Okay.
in one of your speeches. Yeah. 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 Did I get it
Yeah,
right?
I was like, wow, that is bizarrely accurate.
All
That's
right, good, good, good. I
exactly my
I I
words.
I I hope I got it right. I told you I watched your demos and a lot of videos, and
Oh,
I really enjoyed it.
thanks,
And you're
thanks.
also a storytelling story setter expert as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, yeah. All different dimensions of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think a good example of that is and I know this is sort of like a hot take, but I think sometimes when people bring people together, it's more about the organizer than it is about the people,
Mm.
if that makes sense. So it's like people like really want to have people together and they want to get the Instagram shot or something, but they haven't really thought about, are people actually like, did you design this for people or did you design this for you?
Yeah.
Right. So, like, an example can be like a company town hall. There are wonderful company town halls, right?
Yeah.
And then there are ones that look really good and people are miserable at them. And they feel like nobody heard, like they didn't answer any of the employee questions. They didn't ask him. It was just, like a moment for a leader to
Versus
say,
a quality team building opportunity, correct?
right. So the distinction that I'm trying to make there is like, I've heard so many people again, not a popular opinion, but those fancy like dinners at retreats and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
or
yeah.
conferences.
Yeah.
Like I know people experience incredible disconnection at those things,
Right.
but they don't feel like saying anything, or they don't because it's like they just got a meal and it looks so
Well, it
nice and
also
it's
might be an
really good.
awards night where you're only recognizing 5% of the audience. So
Right.
95% are either disappointed, embarrassed, let down. And so have you ever heard the expression? I'm going off what you're saying, a Disney dad?
A Disney dad.
Yeah.
Same.
So a Disney dad is yeah, I'm sure there's Disney moms, but a Disney dad is known as, let's say they're divorced, and the mom, and I don't want upset anyone, but in some cases, right, the mom is the one taking care of them, make sure they get their homework done and practice and ordering
Okay, I know where you're
uniforms.
going. Yeah.
But now it's dad's weekend, maybe once a month,
Yeah.
Sweeps in and takes him to Disney. And dad's the
Yeah.
greatest guy in the world, but he wasn't doing, and mom has to be, did you do your homework? You can't leave unless you get your homework.
Yeah.
And dad doesn't worry about that. Well, I refer to that as a Disney boss, what you were just saying.
Right.
And I've been guilty of this where, I do, maybe I didn't do enough in the year, and show appreciation, but I took my employees to this five diamond resort, pound my chest of what a great boss I am. But to your point, it wasn't, they didn't get as much out of it as I think they did. And it's the little things throughout the year that would be
Right.
even better than spending the, six figures on that awards dinner or whatever it was.
Right. Exactly. And I think it's like all in how it's done. I mean, those things can be really awesome. And they can also be incredibly disconnected for people, because it wasn't really about them. Like someone had to, leave their family for 3 or 4 days, and
Yeah,
they're talking to, just the people next to them.
right.
Um, and so, and it's hard because those things feel like you've checked the boxes. When we had a leadership offsite, we took everybody to Tahoe or something like that. Um, and I just like I don't know that they always do what they're supposed to do. And there's the pictures of it, and then there's the experience of
Right,
it.
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. So I know you're well, I know what your sweet spot is, right? Later
Mhm.
dating today and helping people from 40 to 59. Do I have the right
45 to 59.
45 to 59? But try to put it on, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch for you because that's what you're hired to do, like by WeWork. For leaders who want to develop their people to have better people skills,
Mhm.
right? What advice would you give them that you've learned from your research and all that?
Yeah. Um, I think I would start by doing an audit of their people skills.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. They have to model the behavior.
Yeah, and truly value it. Like people, it's interesting. I think people are talking about like, oh, people skills are so important, and it's so important that for people to have them. But at the end of the day, there's not always an incentive for them. People are not compensated for that. They are not necessarily appreciated for it. So it's sort of like, you always have to look at the incentive structures,
Yeah.
right? At the end of the day, you can say people skills are important, but what is it that you're rewarding in your organization? So I would say that would be like the first thing, you know?